Now, the opposition National Democratic Congress has warned against any attempt by the Electoral Commission to cite network challenges to deliberately frustrate the limited voter registration in the party's strongholds. According to the Northern Regional Secretary of the party, Mohammed Salam, any such attempt will be fiercely resisted.
The limited voter registration exercise is scheduled to begin on Tuesday, May 7 and end on May 27. Even before the start of the process, members of the opposition NDC have begun raising concerns.
You need 50% plus one single vote to win an election. So for 67%, a whooping 67% of Ghanaians to indicate their distrust in the Electoral Commission, that is an institution that is buried in terms of confidence level.
In the Savulgu constituency, the party is cautioning the EC to uphold its integrity and not to succumb to alleged plans of the MPP to register minors.
Those plans they are messing up. We are aware. We shall not allow them to go through those particular plans. For we are wise, we are enlightened, we are matured, and we can decipher between what is good and wrong, and we know our left from our right.
Northern Regional Secretary of the party, Mohammed Salam, wants the EC to be opened in instances where they want to switch to manual registration to avoid confusion at registration centers.
We are worried about is situations where you get to the center and then they will tell you because of data issues or network issues, the machines are not functioning. And at the end of the day, you equally have to transport these people back to where they are coming from, and you having to bring them back the next day. So we are saying that let the EC be clear in determining at what point must the registration machine be switched offline. Should it be 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes after we have recognized that the network is not functioning?
Let's speak to National Coordinator of the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, Albert Ahin. Thank you so much for your time, sir. So the registration exercise starts tomorrow already. There are accusations and counter-accusations. We also know that the register is the bedrock of every election. What more can be done to ensure a credible voter register?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners. I think the issue is that everybody, whether it's the party or the EC, should work very hard. In the first place, there should be sufficiency of material. We shouldn't have material getting short here and there. And then I also advise that anytime anybody goes to the center and the person is challenged, for example, on the grounds that the person is a minor, I don't think there's a need for any fracas at that juncture. There are rules governing registration. So if anybody is supposed to be a minor and is challenged, I don't think there should be a fight. And this is the advice I'm giving to everybody. The rules of the game, or the rule is that if somebody is challenged, there's a form to be filled. And then a time is given for a review of whatever it is that has been alleged. So sometimes I get confused when people go to centers and start fighting. There shouldn't be any problem. When there's an issue, there's always something to be done about it. So that is to the party. No party should cause any confusion by saying that you have brought minors, I wouldn't allow you, and then it results into a fight. I don't think it's proper.
On the registration of minors and foreigners, almost every election this issue comes up, but accusations are also being pointed at political parties themselves as being perpetrators, busing these minors and foreigners to registration centers.
Yes, so this goes to the party. If you know somebody is a minor or somebody is a foreigner, don't try to persuade him to go to the center. And if that should even happen, if it should happen that somebody has sent a minor or a foreigner to the center, there are rules governing challenging. There's something to be done about it. you fill a challenge form at the appropriate time, the person is served, it goes to the registration review committee, and then it is resolved. So honestly, I sometimes get confused when people start arguing seriously and sentenced because of some of these accusations. It is very clear. It is laid down. The rules are there. So whenever there's any problem, you just have to listen to the registration officer who will guide you, give you the necessary forms to fill so that at the appropriate time it will be resolved.
Thank you so much for your time. And the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, plans to return the docket it received from the Office of the Special Prosecutor on Cecilia Dapaah. Executive Director COP Mamiya Adudankwa stated that despite requesting additional information from the OSP, EOCO has not received any response.
The Office of the Special Prosecutor commenced investigations into the Cecilia Dapaah stashed cash case following reports that huge sums of money had been stolen from her residence. The investigations were later referred to the Economic and Organized Crime Office after the OSP concluded that the case had to do with money laundering, which does not fall within its mandate. The Office of the Attorney General, in a recent opinion, described the referral as lacking basis since the OSP failed to point to any unlawful activity undertaken by the former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah. Executive Director of EOCO, Mamiya Adudankwa, explains her office asked for directions from the Attorney General because the OSP failed to provide additional information.
When the docket was referred to us, you mean Madam Cecilia Dapaah's case, the docket was referred to us because in the opinion of the special prosecutor, it borders on money laundering. We requested for the basis of the SP coming out with that conclusion that enabled him to say that we should continue. We requested for that, we didn't get, maybe as at now we haven't received any response. And we sat down to review the whole docket. At the end of the day, we realized that we couldn't find our way clearer. Most of the time, when you finish your docket, you can send it to Attorney General's office for advice. But this is not something that we send for advice because we couldn't even find our way. We didn't see our way clearer. So we wanted the Attorney General to look at what we've done and direct as to the way forward. Remember, before the docket was referred to us, the source of the money had already been referred to the Criminal Investigation Department. The Attorney General had directed the CID to look at the source of the money. So having reviewed the document that we received from ASP, we didn't see any offense, predicate offense, from which we'll proceed our investigation on. So we requested direction from the Office of the Attorney General.
She adds that the docket will be returned to the OSP.
You need evidence to prove criminal offense. It's not about people saying it. Saying that somebody is corrupt, there's so much corruption, that one doesn't solve any problem. Whatever that we would have done had already been directed at the CID to do. We cannot continue to be doing fishing. It's like we don't even know what you are looking for. You just go about looking for something that you yourself, you are not even sure. So what I'm going to do is that with the AG's advice, I will send the docket that we received from the OSP to him, that there's nothing for us to do.
Well, let's interrogate this subject a bit further. Joining us on phone is Martin Kpebu, who himself had commented on this particular subject, especially after the Attorney General advised that the OSP's decision to investigate money laundering against Cecilia Dapaah through the EOCO was illegal. Mr. Kpebu, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, evening, Martin. Evening.
Right. To start with, Madam Mamiya Adudankwa seemed to have just reiterated the advice that the Attorney General gave, which is that there is nothing for them to investigate because they didn't even get full documents from the OSP when it asked them to investigate money laundering against Cecilia Dapaah. Is there anything new in here comparing what the AG advised and what Mamiya Adudankwa is saying?
Yes, there are a lot of new things. So number one, like you said, OSP could not do money laundering, that investigate or prosecute for money laundering because the Special Office of Special Prosecutor Act does not allow him to. So the wisest thing was to have passed the docket on to Manitiwa, that's the EOCO board. But this is they are saying, look, Martin, there are a lot of things to unpack. Let's see if we can do it brief. Number one, the Attorney General is even contradicting Manitiwa. On Saturday, on Newsfire, after we're done with key points, I played back Newsfire, and you hear the Attorney General saying that Manitiwa had concluded the investigations and found nothing. That's what Attorney General said. Now, Manitiwa, that's at the Dankwa EOCO board, had rather written for further instructions. And that same letter had said that she could comment if she could comment, but it was unnecessary. So this showed that she hadn't finished any investigation, but the Attorney General maintains that Manitiwa had finished and there was nothing, which is false. So that's the new thing. You can play back Newsfile and you'll find it. Then number two, in the same interview on Newsfile, the Attorney General, Godfrey Dami, said that the sources of the money were the ones that were in the charge sheet. You know, when the case in the circuit court, Madame Dapa had said the money belonged to her deceased brother and then funeral donations. Godfrey Dami says the source of the money is what is in the charge sheet. That information had always been around since day one. So now that Godfrey Dami says that is the source of the money, the question is, then what is the CID doing investigating that matter? If the Attorney General, not that if the Attorney General says the source of the money, of the money is in the charge sheet, and so what is the CID doing? So you see that it's a charade, a complete charade. The Attorney General is part of the conspiracy to just free Madame Dapa. Now let's come to the third point, and now he's made it abundantly clear. He was caught on Newsfire to have lied, and people sent text messages and the rest to show that Dr. Dami was just misleading the public. He was caught cheap, very cheap, at long last. You see, you can scheme and scheme and scheme. One day you'll be found out. And Dr. Dami was found out on Saturday on Newsfire. You can play it. Point number three, very critical. You see, Manitiwa says she couldn't make head and tail of it. I like the honesty that she says she doesn't know how to go about it. So they need help. And I'm even offering that, listen, I want to help. They should bring me on board pro bono. I can help.
You can help. Right.
The starting point is that in matters like this, when you see plenty cash, what the decided cases have shown, it's not only in Ghana, we copy it from elsewhere. They say that start from the income of the person. So when you see $540,000 in somebody's house, that's Madame Dafa's house, 2.7 million. That's also different from the initial money that the house girl and the rest stole. And that's also separate from the one in the bank. So if you start and your income doesn't measure up to, then that is the money laundering.
Right.
That is what the authorities are saying.
Counsel, like you indicated, there's a lot more to unpack from the back and forth over Cecilia Dapa's money laundering allegation leveled against her by the OSP. But as of now, we may have to leave it here because of time, but in subsequent bulletins, I'm sure we'll interrogate and get deeper into this. What does it even mean for the whole investigation that is being undertaken by the OSP? We'll get details of that in subsequent bulletins. Martin Kwebu is a private legal practitioner.